Hi, everybody. It's Dave Hansen here, Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Going to be interviewing a good friend of mine, a business partner, Rich Morgan. Hey, all right.
Hey,
Thanks, Rich.
you bet.
Man,
Oh,
an engineer can't figure out how to use Facebook Live. It's pretty embarrassing.
yeah.
But
We'll figure it out.
I did. I did.
Yeah,
It would be nicer if I could do that right away without going live first. I couldn't figure that out. But anyway,
hey,
thank you for thank you for hopping on,
yeah,
everybody. This is Rich Morgan. He's owned a family business, and I just wanted to call him and pick his brain a little bit about you know what he thinks about this crazy business, crazy industry we're in. So, um,
well,
Rich, why don't you start off? Tell everybody a little bit about your family business, where you're at with some of the pain points, and why you got attracted to network
yeah,
marketing.
absolutely. Well, for those that don't know me, I live in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, not far from Dave and Nancy, just south of you, I guess, right?
Yep.
Sorry,
We used to
I
be
didn't
lucky.
dress up. I'm not, in my business. But yeah, we used to be closer. But yeah, I've been involved in a family business all my life. I mean, for those that know me, there's a music store in Eau Claire. We have a retail music store. We sell almost everything music related. Some of that we split up a little bit recently, but from pianos to guitars to harmonicas to music lessons and sheet music, all the above. So it's family business. My dad started it 60 plus years ago. He passed away a couple of years ago, but I currently run it, and I'll tell you, it's been good and bad and ugly, like all small businesses, and especially family businesses. I mean, those of you that own or manage or run a small business, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, you have all the headaches of the day-to-day business, employees not showing up, employees calling in sick, theft, delinquent accounts, checks bouncing, all those types of things. For me, now I own the place and kind of run it, so I'm a little better positioned. But what got me into this industry is, I started there. I dropped out of college to work at the family business, and I guess our goals change. I mean, I thought earning $25,000-$30,000 a year was a lot of money back in, the 80s and 90s. So I found out that wasn't the case when I got married and started having kids. So 3 or 4 years into working at the family business, in all honesty, we had 3 kids, 3 and under, and just wasn't enough month left at the end of the money, or enough money left at the end of the month, whatever that phrase is. Um, so, my wife was home full time with the 3 kids, and I was working 60, 70, sometimes 80, 90 hours a week, like you do at a small family business, doing everything under the sun. And it was a lot of stress, and probably even worse for me was the guilt. I mean, there was a lot of times I left in the morning and my kids were in bed, and I got home and they were back in bed, and it seemed like I just never saw my wife and never saw my kids. And I just didn't feel like a good husband and a good father. And I didn't know what to do. Probably, like I said, the worst part of all that scenario was I felt trapped. I didn't have a college degree. I didn't have any other work experience at that point. What's a guy to do with no college degree, no work experience, 3 kids to support, and not a lot of money in the bank. So I couldn't go back to school or just take a chance on a new job. So that's when I discovered this whole network marketing thing. And it just made sense to me. It seemed like something that I could start part-time with where I was at, and just kind of build in what little time I had. My wife wasn't real happy about it because she thought I was gone enough. And sometimes you don't see the big picture, or, the forest through the trees. Um, but yeah, it just made sense to me. It was something that I could start and work with. And I saw the potential there. But I guess, I mean, that's a little bit about me and why I got in the industry in the beginning. It was really to just earn a little extra money. And as I got involved, my goals grew, and my belief level grew. I mean, I realized that, I could make probably more than $30,000 or $40,000 a month, or
Yeah.
a year rather, and make that in a month. Where he's
Yeah.
talking about that.
That's left.
So yeah,
Okay, so um, I mean, this is a family business, been in your family for quite a while. But what if you were to start a business like this from scratch? What would it take? What's involved in getting started in something, a business like your family's business, your music business?
Well,
I mean,
knowing
there's a big investment.
absolutely. I mean, knowing what I know today, I certainly wouldn't probably start a traditional business. It's tough in today's world. I mean, there's a lot of competition. I mean, the music industry I know better than anything, so I'll use that as an example. I mean, today it's not just the music stores that are competition. I mean, when I was growing up, it was kind of the local music store that, you worried about. I mean, today it's a global economy. So, I mean, every place on the internet, is our competition. And I think that goes for most small businesses. Not even that, but even pawn shops. I mean, they've got a plethora of music instruments nowadays. eBay, I mean, there's just a ton of used instruments out in the marketplace. And I think that goes, again, for a lot of businesses out there. So it's the internet, it's pawn shops, it's eBay, it's all the online marketplaces. But like you said, to start a traditional business can cost a lot of money. I mean, typically at least $25,000, $30,000, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, think of our business again, music industry. How many guitars could I hang on the wall for $10,000? Yeah. I just did literally a wholesale order of $30,000 worth of instruments in the last 2 days. Just for our first quarter, inventory. And that's established business with, hundreds of thousands of dollars of inventory already. So most people just don't have that kind of capital up front. And business success isn't that great. We all know about 80 or 90% of these businesses fail in the first few years. So those are risks I think a lot of people shouldn't take unless they've got a lot of business savvy and a lot of money in the bank and they're really passionate about a business. But I got to say that it's not either or either. I mean, if you love a traditional business and want to go that route, that's the beauty of our business. So you can do this as your side hustle and make a lot of money. But yeah, there's a lot of risk and a lot of upfront money and, a lot of headaches. So.
Yeah. I work in a small business, so I'm aware. I watch my boss struggle with a lot of these things.
I bet. But yeah, same over.
Here's a question for you. A lot of these small businesses incorporate in some fashion or another, but does that remove them, when they have a line of credit? If it's, say they're an LLC, for example, doesn't that just make it so they don't have to worry about any of the other finances, not their personal finances? Well,
you'd think. I mean, certainly it limits your liability, but that's exactly what an LLC is, right? Limited liability. But what they don't tell you is obviously every single credit app that you fill out, you have to sign a personal guarantee. And that affects your personal credit. I mean, it's hard to go get a home loan if you're signed for hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars with the credit limits for, different companies. So, it's not fun. You have to literally sign your life away. They're coming after you if the corporation can't pay. They're going to try. I mean, again, you have limited liability. You may be able to get out of some of that, but do you have the amount of money and time with attorney fees and all that sort of thing?
Right.
But there's so many other liabilities, that I think people don't think about. Like I said, you've got personal liabilities. You've got a loan at the bank, and the bank's not going to give you a loan unless, without looking at your personal credit and having you sign on the dotted line. So you've got, credit lines and bank loans and personal guarantees. But I look at liabilities in a larger fashion. I mean, you've got all the complicated tax scenarios. I mean, as a corporation, and payroll taxes and estimated taxes. And to me, that's a stress because you do one little thing wrong, your corporation could get, in tax problems. That's a liability to me. And it's one thing we talk about all the time is time. That's a liability. I mean, you're tied down and you're taking on personal liability for time, covering the store hours. I mean, you can't just not show up if you own the business. And a lot of times you get employees that call in sick or don't show up or, quit. And guess what? That's up to you. That's a liability to me to have to be there all the time. So there's a lot of that.
Right. So that kind of brings us into the concept of systems, right? Because, obviously a big business with over 500 employees, the CEO could take a week or a month off, maybe even, and it'd still run. But as a small business owner, that's not quite so possible, is it? You don't really have time freedom, do you?
Not really. It's funny. Everybody wants to be a business owner so that they can be their own boss and, you know, and
Right.
they think that because you're your own boss, you know, yeah, you can come and go as you want and you can take a vacation when you want. And ultimately, maybe that's the case once you have a very successful business and it's kind of up and running, like you say, and you have systems in place. But certainly early on, and certainly in the case of most small businesses, you know, the business owner has to do everything. They got to wear a lot of hats, and that means they got to be there a lot, and a lot falls onto their, you know, shoulders, and there's a lot of risk, not just financially, but like we're talking about, just covering the hours and covering the responsibilities of the store. And you nailed it with systems. I mean, that's why people buy into a franchise system, because they believe that a franchise has a proven system, whereas, you know, a small business owner's figuring it out. And it may take them too many years to figure it out. That's why about 80 or 90% of these businesses fail. Read an interesting thing recently. Franchises aren't much better. They're certainly better than the typical small business because of a system. But again, there's with the fees and, you know, just the practicality of having to work 2 or 3 or 4 years before you ever even show a profit in a lot of cases.
And you have to, I mean, they're not cheap either, right? I mean, they're not, you're starting a franchise is at least 25, can be a couple of million.
Exactly. I think the average franchise is probably $40,000-$50,000 on up. And, you know, some of the bigger ones that we all know of, like a Pizza Hut franchise or a Subway or McDonald's, I mean, they can be millions of dollars. And it doesn't stop there. That's upfront money. And of course, you have to have that liquid. Most people don't have that sitting in the bank or, you know, liquid assets to be able to even consider a franchise like that. But if you're lucky enough to have that kind of money and credit, you know, that's when the headaches just begin. You know, because now you're, you know, you have to pay the lease, you have to pay your employees, you have to buy a cash register and a POS system, you know, a point of sale system, some of you know, some kind of a customer relationship marketing system. You have to have a bookkeeper and an accountant, and you know, all the employees, and hire and train those employees, and then once you got all that done, you know, no matter how successful you are, you're always paying a pretty large royalty, you know, to the franchise owner, you know, and so franchise fees, and usually a percentage of sales, and it's usually based on your gross, which, you know, if it's one thing to have gross $1 million, and you may only have $100,000 left at the end of the day, but they're you know, charging you a percentage of the gross. So you know, so but the reason people get into franchises is because most franchises have a franchise system, a proven track record run on. And what the beauty of our industry is, at least when you're with a company and a team like we have, we've got a track to run on, and we have a proven success system. And so we can kind of plug into that and have a franchise-like system without the franchise fees, without the upfront fees, and without all the headaches of a traditional business or a franchise.
And how many employees? How many employees do you need for you?
0.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and people, and you know, and I got to be careful what I say, because I'm a local business owner and I love my employees, right? But you know, the number one challenge out there, I just read this in some article, is finding and keeping employees. I mean, today,
these days,
it's really, really difficult to find employees, and it's even harder to keep employees. And it's hard to find good employees, obviously. And again, that puts all the pressure on the business owner. I mean, when someone quits, doesn't show up, needs to get fired, guess who covers those hours? The business owners. You know, and that's a challenge. We ate at a local restaurant, you'll know what it is, Baracho's, just down the street from us just recently. And the manager was in there, and I don't know how we got talking. He just kind of opened up to me. I guess he saw that I had a Morgan Music there. I'm advertising for, you know, shirt on or something. He said, oh, you know, we got talking kind of business owner to business owner. And he said, man, he hadn't had a day off, I think he said, in 16 days. Wow. And he was working literally, he says, man, I put in like 60, 70 hours this week, and I don't see any. He said, I just can't get employees. Someone has to cover the hours. And he said, it's been 16 days of working, you know, 12, 14-hour days every day, and they're open 7 days a week. So, you know, it's the same all over, whether it's a restaurant or a you know, music store or any other small business. It's really hard to keep and find good employees and cover the store hours, much less do all the things you need to do to build a business.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we struggle with that every year, especially if you have a cyclical business where you're trying just to find temporary employees in the, November and December, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's trying to find employees in November
Exactly.
and December.
And most businesses are cyclical, some more than others, but
Right.
certainly the holidays for a lot of businesses, or college time, or when the college kids all go away because we're a college town, then all of a sudden you have even less people to work.
Yep.
So
Perfect. Great. Well, this has been great. Do you have anything else you want to tell us about network marketing? Why you're in it? Why you chose it? I mean, you hit on most of it.
yeah,
already.
I mean,
Summarize it.
yeah, I mean, we could talk for hours on that. I mean, I've been on both sides of the fence, and I can tell you, network marketing is a better way. There's no perfect way out there, and not everything works for everybody. And again, it doesn't have to be either or. If a person loves their job, if you're passionate about teaching, or you're passionate about being a doctor or a nurse or an attorney, or whatever it is that you're passionate about, or a musician, go for it. Do that. You don't have to quit that job, that career, or sell your business. That's the beauty of our businesses. You can start right where you are with what you have, build a little side hustle. But I think once people get their feet wet, and this is what happened to me, honestly, I got started, like I said, 24 years ago, thinking, I just want to do this on the side. And after a few years, my belief level grew, and I saw people earning literally millions of dollars a year. And I never had that potential in the music business. And most people don't. Small business, I mean, at the end of the day, most business owners just bought themselves a job. They're not making a whole lot more than they would be working for somebody else, but they're bearing a lot more responsibility and a lot more stress. And a lot more risk. That's the big word. And so, with this business, there really is no risk. I mean, we know it. You can get started for a few $100s, even less, to maybe a couple $1,000s. What's that going to buy? 2 guitars in a guitar shop? I mean, it would be a joke to open a music store with $2,000. You'd have 3 guitars on the wall and a cash register. That's about it. So, here you can get started literally in a business that has no ceiling, regardless of what race, color, age. It doesn't really matter. We've seen people earn millions of dollars from all different backgrounds. I mean, we know our upline story. The person that we're working with, I mean, here's a guy that was living in a trailer home, earning $100 a week, and has now earned over $30 million in our industry. So anybody can do this business. You don't have to be the sharpest person. Look at me. I won't mention you because you're pretty darn smart. But that's the thing. There's this major upside potential with really no minimal downside and no ceiling on your income. And what people need to realize is this is big business. I mean, the network marketing direct sales industry does nearly $200 billion a year in revenue globally in dozens and dozens and dozens of nations and countries. And when you break that down, that's, I can tell you this, over I was looking at some statistics, $76 billion were paid last year in commissions in our industry.
Wow.
That's over $208 million a day is being paid out to people like me and you. So it's big business. And another huge advantage that we don't talk about enough is the tax advantage. I mean, as an employee, and even as a business owner, you're an employee, because depending on how you pay yourself, who do you pay first? You don't pay yourself, you pay the government. And so, here you're on a little different side of the equation where you get paid first up front. And, what our normal everyday expenses can become business expenses, like the phone. I need my phone to do Facebook Lives and to call prospects. So all of a sudden my phone becomes not just, a bill, it becomes a business expense, and it offsets some of my taxes. My house, I need my house to build my business. We do home meetings here. We do Facebook Lives here. So you can write off a part of your house. I'm not giving you tax advice, but I will tell you can save thousands of dollars just by starting a network marketing business. Even if you never show a real strong profit, it can offset some of your other income. So there's people that get involved in this just for the tax benefits. But it's so much bigger than that. If you really look at this business, I mean, you and I, we've worked together on and off now for, you know, I don't know, almost 20 years. So, you know, I mean, you've seen, you know, people in this industry, myself included, that have earned millions of dollars. And I mean, for me, the benefits, we've been blessed because of this industry. I don't like to brag, and it's not about me and all the money I make. You know, there's always someone that makes a lot more money and has had a lot more success. But I can tell you this, we just built a beautiful new house, and we don't have a mortgage. We put 4 kids through college, and never had to take out a loan, and still have money in the bank actually for maybe the grandkids' college funds. So, I mean, that's not, you know, that doesn't happen very often in the job place, you know, I mean, so there's big opportunity here. And like I said, no downside potential and major upside potential, and very, very minimal risk and great tax advantages. But I think the greatest benefit of this business is time. You know, I'm working for time. That's something you don't have as a small business owner or a franchisee or anything like that. There, you know, you're busting your buns and working 40, 50, 60, sometimes 70 or 80 hours a week. And it just doesn't get a whole lot better. I can tell you that after being, you know, owning a business for years. I mean, here's the magic of this, and really the secret of the wealthy. You know, the difference between a job or a business and a vehicle like network marketing that allows you to earn passive, you know, cash flow, basically. You know, being able to leverage time. That's the biggest thing. And that's really the secret of the wealthy. You know, Warren Buffett, which we all know is one of the wealthiest people in the world, says, if you don't have a way to make money while you sleep, you're going to work till the day you die. And he's true. I mean, you go into Taco John's or McDonald's or Walmart, doesn't matter. And what do you see? That you're greeted by someone that's probably in their 70s and 80s, and they're probably not working there because they want to. Some will do, they're social and they like having a job and getting out, and that's great and wonderful. But I think the vast majority are working because they have to. You know, they need a job, even though they've worked their entire life. I mean, the 40-year plan doesn't work. You know, we can get into that another time, but you know, this is a way to leverage yourself and to work for time. And what I mean by that is, instead of working 80 hours a week or 40 hours a week at a job, you know, you can work 10 or 15 hours a week and go find a few people like ourselves to work 10 or 15 hours a week. And they find a few people that work 10 or 15 hours a week. And all of a sudden, you're still only working 10 or 15 hours a week, but you've got the power of many hundreds of hours working for you. You know, just like setting up franchises all over the country, like being the franchise owner and setting up franchises all over the company, over the country. And in our case, we can do it globally. We can set up, you know, a franchise-like business all over the world. And again, it can be hundreds of people, even thousands of people that you can benefit from. So using that leverage, you're leveraging your time so that you have, you know, the ability to literally have hundreds of man hours working to earn you unlimited income. And that's the benefit here. And that's you know, that's what works in our favor. And you don't have in anything else unless, you know, you're Elvis Presley and you can hit you know, a big record and get royalties the rest of your life. I mean, there are a few people that have that ability, but most of us don't. This is the, you know, the purest form of franchising and the best way to earn royalties, so to speak, for many, many years to come, for the average person that doesn't have $1 million for a franchise, you know, is not going to be the next Elvis Presley. You know, so that's the beauty of this, is an average person, the masses can earn, you know, wealth in our industry. And that's the beauty of it.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you so much, Rich. This has been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge opportunity here. And of course, we're in front of, you know, what I think is the best opportunity I've seen in my 25 years of doing this. So I would just encourage anybody taking a look at this, take a real serious look at this. This is big business. There's a huge opportunity. The timing could not be better. And we are sitting literally, you know, in front of a massive wave here that I think is going to create a lot of millionaires. We're pretty darn excited about it, aren't we, Dave? And
We are.
yeah.
We are.
So get back with, you know, the person that invited you on this live, get with Dave, get with myself, you know, and learn more about what we're doing.
Sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Rich. We'll see you again soon.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's always fun, Dave. That's the last thing I'll end with is one of the greatest parts of this business is the relationships you build and the people you meet. And we've like I said, we've been working together now almost 20 years, and we have some great team members. I seen Gene Yokio was on here, and I don't want to leave people out, but the relationships you build in this business is what really make this business even better than the money. I mean, you know, it's just great to build a business with friends and build new friends and build people and build people in all aspects of their life. I mean, that's another beauty of this thing is what we teach in network marketing, financial literacy, business, you know, education, but we also teach life skills that are going to help you with your traditional business, and it's going to help you with your marriage, and it's going to help you with your spiritual life. And so we literally are all about blessing lives in so many different ways, physically with our products, financially with our business, socially. I mean, who would have thought we'd be doing a Facebook Live, right, Dave? I mean, we're growing socially and networking with people and just building our people in so many different aspects of their life. It's just remarkable. So professionally and financially. So
great.
Well, thanks, Dave. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been fun. It really has.
Always is. You bet. Well, thanks for the invite. We'll do it again soon.
Okay. Yep.
Talk to you later. Thanks again, everybody.